If your experience has been anything like mine, you've been using a lot of hand sanitizer lately. So this video is about how alcohol actually protects us from infection. Let's start by looking at what alcohol is. There are actually two different compounds that are commonly used for disinfection that are both called alcohol. The first one is ethanol, sometimes called grain alcohol or just alcohol. And its structure is two carbons connected to a hydroxyl. This is what makes it an alcohol group. And let's not forget our hydrogens. All right. Isopropanol, called rubbing alcohol, is the other alcohol that's often used for disinfection, and it has a similar but slightly different structure. It has three carbons and a hydroxyl group in the middle. Ethanol is made by fermenting many different kinds of sugars, and isopropanol is made mostly by refining byproducts from making petroleum products, actually. So what's important about the chemical properties of these compounds that makes them effective in killing germs that can make us sick? Well, the most important property that both of these compounds have is that they are slightly amphiphilic. So amphiphilic is a word that means loving both. So as we learned before about the solubility rule, that like dissolves like, and that means polar compounds dissolve polar compounds, and similarly nonpolar compounds dissolve nonpolar compounds. In other words, oil and water don't mix, but oil and oil and water and, say, vinegar do. So what amphiphilic means is that these compounds have both polar and nonpolar properties. So here is a model of ethanol, and as you can see, we've got carbon hydrogens here, which are nonpolar, but we also have this hydroxyl group, which is polar. So if you had alcohol mixed with water, you could see that there could very possibly be connections between the hydroxyl group and water, and that makes ethanol very soluble in water. But to a limited extent, these carbons also make ethanol soluble in some nonpolar things as well. So what the heck does that have to do with killing germs? All right. So 3 ways that alcohol kills things. First, alcohol can sort of dissolve lipids, and I'm going to specify this as membrane lipids. And a lipid is a substance that is nonpolar and biological, like oils, fats, cholesterols, things like that. The membranes of cell walls, including the cell walls of bacteria, are at least partially made of special kinds of lipids that are themselves also amphiphilic. They have both polar and nonpolar properties. So here you can see a cutaway diagram of a bacterial cell, and you can see that it has membranes that are there around them, and these are sort of fatty compounds. When an alcohol is introduced to it, it will insert itself into those membranes and probably disrupt them a little bit. Well, this hasn't been super well studied. So disrupting the cell membrane is the first way that an alcohol can help kill a bacterium. The big thing, the most important way that alcohol kills bacteria is by denaturing proteins. Let's remind ourselves about the structure of proteins. Proteins are made of chains of amino acids. And these amino acids, there are many kinds of amino acids that have different properties, and because of their different properties, they end up folding themselves into different shapes. So here's a reminder of how that looks. So we've got both hydrogen bonding here between two amino acids, as well as covalent bonding between another kind of amino acid. If you heard me talk to you about the structure of hair, these are the two main forces that contribute to the structure of the protein that makes up hair. So when you introduce the amphiphilic alcohol to bacteria after it breaks through the membrane by partially dissolving it, it can insert itself into all of those spots in the protein and start to disrupt its structure. So here's what a properly folded protein would look like. After you introduce the protein, it starts to unravel and unfold. Proteins are super important to living things. They're what make living things work. They make up the structure of living things, and they also are important chemical engines and motors that power all the processes of living things. So if you break enough proteins, and you will kill the organisms. The third way that alcohols can kill living organisms is potentially by disrupting water balance. So if you remember part one, that alcohols disrupt membranes. By disrupting membranes, they also disrupt an organism's ability to regulate the amount of water in it. So by doing this, the cell could potentially end up losing too much water or gaining too much water, and either of those things could potentially kill the cell. How important this is to the overall germ-killing ability of alcohol, I'm not sure. But the question may have occurred to you by now, what about viruses? So viruses technically aren't living organisms. They're actually bits of genetic material that can take over a cell and make it make more of the virus. So without a living host, viruses can't reproduce. So let's take a look at coronavirus. This is a simplified version of what the coronavirus looks like. Here's the genetic material inside the virus. Here is a encapsulating protein, or a protein envelope that is protecting the genetic material. And these spike proteins probably help the virus attach to cells that it will infect. So if you break enough capsule proteins by the same sort of protein denaturing processes that I was mentioning earlier, then you could probably inhibit a virus's ability to infect your cells. So that, in a nutshell, is what alcohol does for us. Um, if there may be more that I'm going to ask you to look up about this, so if that's the case, please make sure to look for other assignments. Otherwise, I hope that you found this informative, and thank you very much.